So back in 2006, I was here for the hearings of the U.S. before the Committee Against Torture. Now, although the treaty is very simple and states do not torture, you'd think they could get that right, but instead they wove their legal arguments so that they would define torture to be anything but what they were doing. Or that the law of torture here didn't actually apply to this situation because you're in Guantanamo or you're in Afghanistan. Very flimsy legal arguments, but they needed U.S. lawyers to be able to point that out to them. Same thing just happened here. We gave them the stories of all these racial disparities that under the Convention on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination very clearly states, do not discriminate, discrimination requires a remedy, and discrimination is anything that's intentionally discriminatory, but also any situation where you have disparate effects. So for example, if you have 13% of America is African American, but 50% of the homeless population is African American, that's a disparate effect that the government is required to provide a remedy for. The U.S. government instead made arguments about how you can't tell if these disparate effects are due to being caused by intentional discrimination, or if they're just if poverty and class and race just happen to correlate. Under the treaty, it's pretty clear. It doesn't matter. And they need the U.S. lawyers, again, to be able to tell them, yes, you're right in this analysis. It doesn't matter. The U.S. is required to provide a remedy under the treaty, and that their legal maneuverings are completely off. We also need the lawyers to take the concluding observations from the committee that are going to come out in 2 weeks, where they call the U.S. out on these violations and give recommendations for how to remedy them, to weave those arguments into their legal arguments and into policy stuff going down the road, and to do that, again, educating the communities that we work with and allowing them to do it for themselves. If you want any more information on this process, I have been blogging live from Geneva at youtube.com/nlchp, or you can contact me at etars, E-T-A-R-S, at nlchp.org. Sorry I can't take your questions right now, but I hope you have a great conference and you go on to become great rebellious lawyers and join this amazing human rights movement in America. Thanks!